Hi guys, welcome back for, well, it's a long overdue welcome back, to be fair, to the Gen 2 solo runs on the RetroBrown channel. We are doing a run today with Scizor, the Bug Steel Pokemon evolution of the Cypher line. And you know what? I want to know if this is as good as everybody makes it out to be. Because usually in their debut generation, some Pokemon just aren't the greatest of the bunch. So let's get started with this one, and you'll have to bear with me because I have not played Gen 2 for a good year or so now, so we'll see if I can remember how to get through this as quick as I used to. So we're going to set the day to Sunday just in case we want to go and pick up the TM for return, and from there we will go and pick up our Pokemon. Now I hadn't used the Universal Pokemon Randomiser for quite a while, so we are going to pick up the Chikorita just in the meantime. That way the rival has a Typhlosion for his final Pokemon, and that's a 4 times effective Pokemon to be using against us. So we'll make sure that they have Cyndaquil, and that gives us the hardest route to go through this game. So we'll have to pick up our Scizor by kind of Game Sharking it in the grass to the west of New Barktown, and then we'll continue on with the run and go from there. So once we've gone and talked to Mr. Pokemon, we can go and get our rival, and from here we're going to call him it's Gamer Girl Monica for today. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. I know you just subscribed back in December. Here's your chance to have a good Pokemon to pretty much start back off this playlist. So now we have completed Mr. Pokemon, we've not talked to the dude here, and we can go and pick up our Cypher. Now, not Cypher, our Scizor. And Scizor, you know what? It doesn't start off with the greatest movesets. With Quick Attack, yes, I am going to use a Master Ball just to get this Pokemon because it was not getting into the ball with Pokeballs. It starts off with Quick Attack and Leer, which, to be fair, it's not the worst moveset to start off with, especially with having priority and a defense lowering move. But even going in at level 3, because that's what we caught it at, it's doing alright against a lot of early game Pokemon because, again, it's early game Pokemon and they majoritively have normal type moves. So Steel typing this early on is going to be fantastic. Let's see how we do against Falkner. So Falkner is starting off with his Pidgey and his Pidgeot, so I don't know why they didn't put him in with the likes of a Hoothoot, but you know what? Who cares? We take down the Pidgey pretty quickly. We have been attacked by Mudslap, so our accuracy is down. But in this generation, accuracy is not as broken as it was in Gen 1, so we don't have to worry too much. We take a very easy win because he doesn't have any super effective moves against us. And there is the very first badge, and we pick up the move Mudslap, which we can't learn. And considering the rival has a Ghost Pokemon coming up in Azalea Town, that's not a good situation for us. But what is a good situation is, at level 12, we get the move Pursuit, which is a Dark-type move, meaning we actually can hit that Ghastly in Azalea Town, but we can't get it until after we've leveled up to level 12, which makes this fight with the Hiker here pretty annoying, really, because he's got 3 Geodudes and they have very high defense, which a Quick Attack will not do much damage against. But our base 130 attack, I mean, look at that base stat. Wow, 130, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous base stat total of 500. It is a very unique line, the Cypher line, because all of its evolutions still have the same base stat total upon evolution. Their stats just get distributed. And of course, Scizor, it gets more defense and it gets better attack, really. So in Azalea Town, we need to go and get rid of the Team Rocket in the Slowpoke Well. They're not too much of a problem whatsoever because, again, they've pretty much just got normal type moves or poison type moves, which I'm pretty sure, or it might be in later generations, but I'm pretty sure poison type is immune, like the Steel type's immune to poison, but that might be in later generations where that happens. I'll have to double check and in later fights when that happens. Let's see how we do against Bugsy. Now you might be wondering why I've gone against Bugsy before the rival. Well, pretty much level 15 I don't think we're going to be able to beat that rival with the moveset that we have. And I really want to get the Fury Cutter TM to be able to go against that Quilava with. Bugsy on the other hand, not a problem whatsoever, really. Even if he sets up Fury Cutter, we have 4 times resistance to bug type moves. So we get his defense low with Leer, and as soon as he starts setting up with Fury Cutter and we've got enough Leers set up, we start a quick attacking, and it's a 2-shot to take out the Cypher. That's 2 gym badges, and of course we now have to deal with probably the toughest rival in the entire game, if I'm being honest, because I don't know what it is about this rival fight, but it is just the most difficult out of all of them at this point in the game. Like, it just is very difficult. Either way, let's see how we do. Monica sends out a Ghastly, and this is the whole reason that I'm happy we have Pursuit, but annoyingly we get paralysed straight away, which really is the worst thing that could have happened apart from being put to sleep. That means we don't outspeed the Quilava, and we can't set up our Fury Cutters quick enough, or even get a Leer out to deal big damage out with Quick Attack. So we take a loss there, and we have to level up. To what level though? We go to level 18 here, and using Leer on the Ghastly, we're trying to take it out in one hit with Pursuit. But I also forgot that I think Dark type in Gen 2 is a special type, meaning that's kind of pointless, but instead of using Pursuit, we can then use Fury Cutter and start setting it up on the Ghastly. That way, when it comes through to the Quilava, it should be a one-shot hit to take it out. As long as we don't miss a Fury Cutter, there we go, we should be able to take it out with this 4th turn Fury Cutter. This time they go for Smoke Screen, and it's not enough. We managed to get a Quick Attack in, and that brings us to 7 HP against Zubat, which is not a problem whatsoever. 2 Quick Attacks will get us the win here. And that's how you go about beating the rival in Azalea Town with a Scizor. Scizor, I'll go with Scizor just because I'm British, and I think that's how you pronounce it in British anyway. Let's see how we do moving into the next town. We go and pick up Headbutt because it's a good move to use. But let's see how we do against Whitney. Whitney should be an easy fight for us because she's a normal type trainer and we're a steel type Pokemon, so we get a lot of resistances there, but the Miltank does have Rollout, which isn't the greatest thing. So ideally what I want to do is try and set up the Fury Cutters, but at level 20 we are outsped by that Miltank. Because I always forget that Miltank has a very high speed stat, which is just doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't make sense. So we set up the Fury Cutters against the Clefairy. We're going for pretty much the same strategy as we did against the rival in Azalea. And this way we can outpace on Fury Cutter. But we do manage to miss. They also miss as well. They use Milk Drink, so it means we have to set up our Fury Cutter again. But we're in the lead, so we managed to get our Fury Cutter in last and get the 3rd badge. And of course she cries, so we have to go and talk to her friend before we get the playing badge and progress on to the next gym, which of course is Morty. In Morty's town as well, in Ecruteak, you also have the Kimono girls to deal with, and they're not exactly the hardest, but they're just kind of an annoying detour, if I'm being honest. That's one thing I find about Johto, is has a lot of annoying detours. Anyway, let's see how we do against Morty. Morty starts off, of course, with his Ghastly, and the worst thing that can happen here is we get cursed. Because, yeah, there we go. Now we're against the clock and we've got 4 turns to take out his entire team, or we need to try and take him out in one-hit kills, which isn't going to happen because it's 2 shots to take out every Pokemon. So this is probably going to end up in a loss. It's going to take, well, it's going to be a 4-shot on Gengar with Pursuit. This is what happens when your special attack is not the greatest at 55, it's our lowest base stat, so we need to try this again. If we can get through that first Ghastly without being cursed, we will be in the lead. And this time he goes for Lick, which is perfect. It means we haven't been cursed. The second Halter can curse us, but it goes for a Hypnosis instead. And we managed to get through all the way to the Gengar and not get put to sleep. We get a critical hit with Pursuit, and then another Pursuit takes it down. That just leaves the final Haunter, which should be a 2-shot with Pursuit. Thankfully as well, we haven't been hit by Spite, so that our PP is lower, and we take a comfortable win on the second try. That's 4 badges down, and Scizor, it's honestly making good time. It's doing pretty well. That brings us down to Olivine City, and with Olivine City, we have, again, lots more detours, which Gen 2 is just, there's just far too many detours you need to do in Gen 2. I think this is why I stopped it for a little while. One, I didn't feel like the engagement on videos were doing too well at the time, and also, Gen 2 is just tedious, because like, it's a fun generation, but don't get me wrong. The amount of detours you have to do in the back and forth instead of like a more linear path. Yes, I understand why they've done it, but at the same time, it is kind of annoying, especially when you're trying to create videos like this and solo runs. You want to try and get through the game as quick as possible. But this is probably why Gen 2 is maybe one of my least favourite generations, if I'm being completely honest. But I didn't want to go straight to Gen 3 or Gen 4, or even Gen 5 and 6, which are 2 of my favourites, apart from Gen 1. So we'll continue on, we'll complete this playlist as well as the Kanto solo runs, and from there, we'll then progress on to later generations, hopefully next year. Anyway, in Chuck's gym, we have a few tricky trainers to deal with, and that is, of course, oh wow, we get frozen by the Hitmonchan. That's very annoying. We managed to defrost though, take it out, but those two Black Belt brothers, because you have to fight them one after the other, are quite annoying. Let's see how we do against Chuck. Now, with our typing, we shouldn't do. We should be hitting neutrally. Like fighting type should be neutral against us because it's super effective against Steel, but it's not effective against Bug, which makes no sense because surely a punch can squash a Bug, but I don't get it. Either way, we take a first time win against Chuck. He is not a problem whatsoever with our moveset, and we can progress on to the next gym leader. And even if we were going to go in order, Jasmine would be the next gym leader, but with our moveset, I don't think we would do too well against her team, so we are going to skip Jasmine for a little bit and head over to Mahogany Town because I feel like we got a much better matchup, and to be fair, Price is a lot easier than Jasmine, which again makes no sense as well. But before we can go against Price, we have to do the Rocket side quest, the dreaded Rocket side quest. We've now got Metal Claw and our moveset, and to be fair, it's a move well needed. I did teach Rock Smash just in case I did go against Jasmine first, just because the fighting move would be super effective against her team. The Gyarados goes down pretty quickly thanks to Fury Cutters, but using Fury Cutter this late on into the game and not many other better moves to work with, mid-game it's not doing very well, Scizor. But we watch Lance Hyper Beam a Rocket and then move on to complete this Rocket side quest. Considering there's a lot of Pokemon that they have a lot of Psychic type Pokemon this time around, as well as Poison types, Fury Cut is still a good move to have just because of the accumulative damage over time. But because we are doing a lot of longer battles than we normally would, it means that the end time will go up because we're spending more time in battles than we are trying to get through the game. At the end of Mahogany Town Rocket Base, we have these two guys here, and we have to go against this Rocket Executive with the Arbok. Metal Claw is a good move because if you do get it, it has a chance to increase your attack. And we also at level 36 learn the move Slash, which is going to be paramount to our run here. So Slash is just going to be our premier move, and it's perfect that we get it around this point in the game. The next move we're going to get though is going to be Swords Dance, and you might have noticed as well, level 24 we get the move Agility. Now those two moves alone, they're going to set us up for the rest of this game. There's no badge boost glitch in Gen 2, so I'm happy to use these moves a lot more than I am in Gen 1 runs. We're in the 7th gym now. Once we've beaten down this trainer with getting an attack up on Metal Claw, we will go against the Ice Trainer Price. And he's not going to be that hard of a gym leader. He never is, to be fair. So we'll take quite an easy win here and see how we do. I feel like looking at this in hindsight after the Dugong run, it might just be the fact that he's so low level compared to our Pokemon, but Dugong in Gen 1 was an absolute beast. Like, I was so surprised by my Dugong solo run that going against it in Gen 2, it just feels a lot more lackluster, like the power creep's already set in for it, and they didn't do anything else with it afterwards. We take an easy badge against Price, and we can head back over to Jasmine. With the amount of levels we've got now, this should be a lot easier to deal with. But we don't have a super effective move to hit her with. The only fire type move we get is Sunny Day. We don't get any fighting type moves apart from Rock Smash and Detect. So we have to deal with what we've got here. Most annoying thing to think about when you come up against Jasmine is the fact that she has Magnemites, who quite often use Thunder Wave on you. And as we know with Pokemon, speed is very key, especially in a solo run. And we get down to 20 HP just off one Magnemite alone. Slash is just not dealing enough damage out, and yeah, we're going to have to think of something different here. Well, we don't have any other moves to work with, but what we do have is Metal Claw. Now, if we are lucky and we get the attack ups like we did on the very first turn, we can start near enough two-shotting the Magnemites. Bring that into the Steelix, we can try and get our attack up against it as well. We get the second one there, but our defenses go down when he uses Iron Tail, meaning we'll take more and more damage every turn. Wasted the Hyper Potion, but we need to start getting more attack ups to make this possible. We get another defense down, putting us in quite a bad position. Thankfully, Iron Tail doesn't have the greatest, wow, we're on 4 HP, Doesn't have the greatest of accuracy, so it does miss quite a lot. And we managed to get through to the final Magnemite with 2 attack, and 1 slash gets us the win against the Magnemite. That was a close win, but I'm happy we managed to do it with those movesets. Annoyingly, we can't learn Iron Tail, even though I'm pretty sure it would kind of make sense in a way, considering it's got the little like hump bit at the bottom of its abdomen. And Steel Wing as well is locked in the post game, which is very, very annoying. So we only have a Stab Metal Claw to deal with. So let's go back up to Goldenrod and complete the Rocket side quest, and we'll pick up Return as we go. It might be we don't need it though, because Slash is a good move, but we'll soon find out as we progress through this game. Going into the Radio Tower, of course, we have a few big problems to deal with, and the first, of course, is a lot of mandatory fights. Yep, a lot of mandatory fights on the Rocket side quest, which of course annoy me to no end. I've forgotten how much I really had a disdain for Gen 2 until I did this video. Anyway, this brings us to the Imposter at the top, and why the hell does he have 6 Pokemon, all of them coughing and a wheezing? Like, it's just like they designed this game to just mess with you and just stall you as much as possible. We go for the Metal Claws, try and get the attack up, so that way we can one-shot every Pokemon. We don't get it up until we get into like one of the later coffins, and we're pretty much running out of PP here with a lot of our moves, so we need to try and hit hard with the next few Pokemon. We don't want to be hit by Self-Destruct, which is a possibility considering all of the Pokemon do have it, but we've only got 2 Pokemon left, and Slash is pretty much our best move going forward. It has a very high critical hit chance, meaning it's a good move to use, and we get 2 in a row there to finish him off. But that in itself, 6 Pokemon, why does a trainer at this stage have 6 Pokemon? This brings us to the rival fight in the Underground, and as long as we can set up a bit, we could be alright, but it's one more level till we get Sword Stance. And it's annoying that he starts off with Golbat because, as you can see here, Confusion does a lot of damage. Monica is just really trolling on us, and at level 41, Slash is not a one-shot on Quilava. We need a crit to make that possible, but I decided let's just level up once more, get Sword Stance, and make this a lot easier for ourselves. After a couple of Sword Stances and a couple of agilities, we're set up to sweep this entire team. Magnemite is not a problem for us anymore. Haunter is the reason we've got Metal Claw, because strangely, Steel-type moves can hit Ghost Pokemon, which I think is kind of weird. Like, the Metal's physical, why does that hit an Apparition? That doesn't make sense to me, but either way. We beat the rival quite comfortably and move on to the top of the Radio Tower, where we have 2 executive fights. Neither of them are too hard, but the second executive does have a Houndour and Houndoom. If we get hit by one of those fire moves, that probably pretty much will one-shot us, because we're 4 times weak allergic to fire, and that's not a good position to be in. So, with the first Houndour comes out, we go straight for Slash, and it is a one-shot. Thank God the Houndour line doesn't have the greatest defenses. Houndoom goes down to a critical, and that just leaves the Coughing. Why does he have a Coughing and not a Wheezing? That is confusing again as well. And that brings us to the end of the Rocket side quest. Thank God we can continue on with the game, and hopefully we haven't lost too much time doing this. That means we can head over to Blackthorn City, but before Blackthorn City, we have the Icy Path to deal with, which isn't too much of an issue, it's just kind of tedious, especially with the strength puzzles, but I'd rather do the strength puzzles over a Rocket side quest any day. Want to beat out this mandatory trainer here with all the birds, we can progress on and see how we do against Clair, the Dragon Tamer. Clair has taken lead from her cousin Lance and has decided to put 3 Dragonairs on her team instead of 3 Dragonites. So we're just going to set up. It doesn't matter whether we get paralysed or not, as long as we set up and set up agilities as well, we can sweep through and pretty much take an easy win here. Now we can outspeed even though we're paralysed. Slash does a massive amount of damage. We've managed to get, well, we're paralysed there. 2 Slashes and 2 Dragonairs down. Third Slash takes out the third, and last but not least is Kingdra. Now we don't want to be hit by Surf because it does big damage on us, but we've set up enough that Slash is a one-shot. We will not double team because regardless of whether it is Gen 1 or Gen 2, I will not use double team unless we get right to the end of the game and we can't beat Red or the champion. So with all it badges in tow, we can progress on to the Pokemon League. And with the first trainer up being Will, I think we'll do alright against him. Bug Steel's a good typing to use against him, but we don't have Fury Cutter anymore. So we're going to have to rely on our Agility Sword Stance setup. And to be fair, that probably is all we need to deal with all of the Elite Four. But before the Elite Four, of course, we have our final fight with Gamer Girl Monica in Victory Road. And I don't know why, but I feel like the underground fight is a lot tougher than the Victory Road fight, if I'm being honest. Like this fight here, you've got enough levels up, you've really under-leveled team compared to us, so let's see how we do. First up, Monica sends in her Sneasel. Now this is a great Pokemon for us to set up on with Agility and Sword Stance, because all it's going to do is either use Screech, Fury Cutter, and not do very much damage whatsoever. If we are a great typing to go against this Pokemon. Once we've fully set up, just for the hell of it, we will slash our way through to victory. Even Typhlosion can't stand up to us here, and we get a critical hit to even rub salt in the wounds there. Slash takes out the Golbat. I don't know why he hasn't got a Crobat by this point, but oh no, I remember the reason. It's because at this point in the game he hasn't learned to use his team as friends. He's still using them as tools. That's why it hasn't evolved via friendship. Anyway, a little bit of in-game lore there, but either way, we have beaten the rival and we can progress on to the Elite Four, with the first one being Will. Let's see how we do. Will's got a pretty stacked team, to be fair. Xatu's not a bad Pokemon with being Psychic Flying, and Slowbro is an absolute tank. Jinx is a good Pokemon, and so is Execute. So to be fair, I actually rate Will's team quite a lot. It's just, it's kind of saddening that his levels are so low comparatively. Either way, we actually do take a near loss here. Well, we do take a loss because of confusion damage. This is the bad thing about setting up with Sword Stance. If you get confused, you can deal massive damage to yourself that they probably can't deal to themselves. But we're going to need to set up the Sword Stance to be able to sweep this team. 2 Sword Stances is more than enough to get the win on the first Xatu. On the second, Jinx then comes in. It doesn't have the greatest defenses, so we go for Slash. And next up is Slowbro, who is a tanky boy. It can't stand up to a critical hit though, and that brings into Executor, who will fall to the final Slash. Second time win against Will. I'm not too dishappy with that. Let's see how Koga does. Now Koga does know the power of friendship because he does have a Crobat, but his lead Ariados is just kind of pathetic. It's got Giga Drain, Double Team is annoying, but once we've set up 2 Sword Stances, we get a lucky Slash to get in. That brings into Venomoth, who will not do very much against us whatsoever. And again, Fortress is probably the biggest threat on his team for us because it is so bulky and we're using physical moves. But 2 Slashes take it down, bringing us into Muck. Now Muck is a bit of a tanky boy as well, but after 2 Sword Stances, again, can't match up to us. And the final Crobat is kind of squishy as well. We take the first time win against him, and we move on to Bruno. Now, I wouldn't say I'm exactly scared for Bruno, but he is a lot better in Gen 2 than he is in Gen 1, in my opinion. More for the fact of his move coverage, really. His Hitmontop does have Dig, which is kind of annoying, but it gives us enough chances to set up, and from there we should be able to sweep. Yes, it's a bit of a rinse and repeat strategy, but hey, I'm using what I've got. I mean, Scizor's move pool is not exactly the greatest. I will use what I can to make this work. We take an easy win against Bruno, even using Metal Claw in the final Onix. And then we can progress on to Karen, the Dark-type trainer. Let's see how we do. I always found Karen's team a bit confusing. Like, I know her role epithet is she's a Dark-type trainer, but she likes using her favourite Pokemon. But about less than half of the team aren't even Dark-types. Yes, they have a dark aura about them, likes of Gengar and Vileplume being a bit sus, but other than that, yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, why didn't she use the likes of, like a Sneasel here would have been a great Pokemon to use in this team instead of that Vileplume. Either way, once we've set up, we can Metal Claw and slash our way through, and we even got through the Houndoom and the Murkrow without really taking much damage. We do get Whirlwinded and Pidgey comes in, so we do have to switch out, but that actually helps us out because we got a few sand attacks off hit by the Umbreon, so from there it actually removed the accuracy loss. that helped us out and we got the win. Let's see how we do against the champion. Now personally, I would say Lance's team in Gen 2 is far superior to his team in Gen 1. And that's purely for the fact of move coverage and it's a variety of his team. He does have his Gyarados, but he's got 3 Dragonites this time round. His Charizard is a great Pokemon as well. It really stops us. Like, if we'd been hit by a fire move there, we would have been taken down in 1. But after setting up a little bit, we're too fast, we're too powerful. We can sweep through his team incredibly easily. And you know what? Level 55, level 56 is a pretty good level to be finishing off on. His Aerodactyl does get a couple of Rock Slides off on us, and we're not actually in the best position right now. Get super effective hit, and there we go. We are the champion. Scizor has become the Hall of Fame champion of Johto. Well, that's not where the game ends, of course. We know this is Gen 2, and we have the post-game to deal with. But let's let the credits roll here, see what time we got here, and then we'll tackle Kanto. Level 55 and 4 hours 13 minutes. Okay, I haven't forgot Johto as much as I thought I had, so that's not a bad time at all to be finishing on with. Actually puts it in quite the higher tiers of my runs, so I'm quite happy with that, if I'm being honest. Let's see how we do in Kanto against Blue, because the other gym leaders aren't even worth mentioning. Blue, the former champion, starts off with his Pidgeot, and this is a great Pokemon to set up on. Yes, it can use Mirror Move and set up itself, but wing attacks actually hit us neutrally because of that bug typing. Once we've set up 2 sword stances, we can take it down, and then he moves into his Arcanine. If we outspeed, which we can, this is our fight now. If we outspeed all of his Pokemon, this is completely our fight after 2 sword stances. His Gyarados goes down to a Slash. Executor, same verse second as the first. I don't know if that's the way I actually say it. I'm talking way too fast for my own liking. And then Metal Claw takes down the Rhydon. Last up is the Alakazam, and as long as we can outspeed it, we're fine. He sets up a Reflect, bit of an inevitable Reflect, but we take the Earth Badge, and that just leaves 1 challenge left. We've headed up to Mount Silver, and we are tackling the Pokemon Master Red. So, how are we going to fight against his team at level 65? Well, Agility and Sword Stance is a perfect combo, and we only need to change 1 move out, and that is get rid of Metal Claw for Rest. Now, this isn't a guaranteed win every time, if I'm being honest, but at level 66, if we can get our Agilities and our Sword Stances set up and keep ourselves not paralysed, we can do pretty well here because we can rest back up. Thunder doesn't hit every time, so we actually get a chance to wake up in the meantime. But you need to set up your Agilities first before your Sword Stances. If you can outspeed that Pikachu, you're in a much better position. Once we've actually managed to whittle down all of its PP, it's no longer using Thunder. So now we can start using Slash and sweep through the entire team here. Venusaur's out next, and from here, 1 Slash is more than enough to take it down from this range. After full Agility and full Sword Stance setup, even the Charizard can't stand up to us. And the only reason he put out that Venusaur first because he wanted to set up Sunny Day. When the Snorlax comes out, we decide to rest up just in case, because we don't want to be paralysed by Body Slam. That would really put us in a bad position. We have more HP to work with now going into the Blastoise, but a 6+ attack Slash did not take out Snorlax. That's how bulky that guy is. So once we rest back up, we take a little bit of damage from Snore. And as soon as we wake up, 1 Slash here should take it down in a critical hit. Blastoise is out, and then 1 more Slash takes that down. Oh my god, even Blastoise can tank a 6+ Slash. Last up is Espeon because it's not the greatest physical attacker, so he leaves it in the back. We get the win, and Scizor has become Pokemon Master of Pokemon Gold and Silver. That was honestly a fun run. I know I've complained a lot in this video about Gen 2, but you know what? Not that bad of a run, quite fun, and Scizor is a pretty damn good Pokemon, if I may say so myself, even with the reduced moveset. We finished that at 5 hours 13 minutes at level 67. That's a decent run, that's a high tiering run. But I hope you guys are enjoying that Gen 2 is back. Let's see what we get next week. Let's spin that wheel. First up is Skarmory. Considering we've just done a Steel-type Pokemon, I'm not going to do the Skarmory run next. Let's see what we get up second. Next up is Misdreavus. Now that'd be an interesting one to do because it's the only other Ghost-type Pokemon apart from the Gengar line in Gen 2. So, last up, of course, is going to be... it's already come up already. It's Blissey. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the Blissey run. I think out of the three, probably going to be the most interesting. If you got to this point in the video, guys, please smash that like and subscribe, you legends. And we will see you next week for the Blissey run. Take care.